Welcome back, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to Brownlow Books. Recently read Billy Ray Belcourt's A Minor Chorus, and I do not have the words to express how much I loved this book. I simply loved reading this book. It was on the Giller Prize longlist in 2022. It is Canadian, of course, then, and also an Indigenous author. In this, it's called a novel. It's not really a novel, but we're gonna get to that after I tell you what it is. Basically, an unnamed narrator is in grad school and burnt the fuck out, and he just wants to write his novel, so he takes some time off from his studies and goes back north to the res and small town that he is from in northern Alberta, like way fucking past Edmonton, and starts talking to people. He is Cree. He is also gay, so he has this, like, intersectionality of Indigenous rights and, like, queer rights that kind of work together and separately. So the reason it doesn't quite read like a novel, like a traditional novel, he is going to talk to people, so it acts more like a collection of conversations with, like, self-reflection and, like, these rhetorical thoughts between them, and it's just filled with, like, raw emotion, not necessarily a cohesive story that you're trying to follow with all these different characters. And the strength of the novel does truly lie not in the characters or the narrative, but, like, the actual writing, not the story. It's very much about just, like, the heart of it lies in, like, the loving and the questioning and, like, the way one fights for their life kind of thing, you know? It's so hard to explain how beautiful this book is while being absolutely heartbreaking at the same time. It is very much, as I said, it has, you know, he's Indigenous and queer. It's very much like the Indigenous survival in a settler society and, like, how that impacts your life, but, like, at the same time he has the double whammy of, like, what is my queer identity and where does that fit into society? And so it's very much like all talking to these people, and it, like, reflects back into him because they're all from the same small town way up in northern Alberta. This does cover a bunch of different topics in all of the conversations that he has, including addiction and the prison system and Indigenous rights and residential schools, domestic violence, queer rights. Like, it covers a lot of things in the way that is not preachy in any way whatsoever, because you're literally having it as a conversation with someone. Someone is telling you about their life, and it's their comments, their offhand comments of, like, why things are the way they are, and then, like, that self-reflection afterwards of, like, yeah. And it's just some absolutely beautiful, beautiful lines written in this book, but, like, you can just feel the sadness and simultaneous hope of it, but, like, the hope is entirely on your end. Like, I understand that. Like, you're reading the book and you're just like, wow, it's just, like, it's real life. It feels so incredibly real reading it. And Billy Ray has said, like, you know, it's not autobiographical, but it's not autobiographical, like, and that's where I mean, like, it just feels so real. Like, these are real things that happen to people. They are real things that occur out there in places. They could be occurring next fucking door for all you know. Like, it's very real and very beautiful, and I loved it so much. And it's a very short book, and, like, people shit on short books. Oh, I can't get into it. Oh, there's not enough time to build stuff up. Nah, more of this book would have been bad. Which seems like a weird thing to say for how much I love it, but more of this book would have been bad. It is perfection the way that it is. as I said, there's all these different characters that we see because they're all telling the story to him, and the one that the one that hit me the hardest, he's talking to this older gentleman who runs the newspaper in the small town, and like he's very suspicious, like, why do you want to talk to me? Like, what this is weird. What are you doing? And like he just explains to him, like, you know, when I was growing up, it was nice to see someone older who was just like there being gay, living their life, and like it helped me get through shit to be like, that guy can do it, I can do it, kind of thing. And then our newspaper man just goes on the most absolutely heartbreaking story of his first love. I'm crying already. Stop it. Nope, not stopping. Okay, so he tells this story of his first love, and like it was in high school, and they would just lay on the bed in the dark holding hands, and it was just like such innocence of like these young kids, you know, just like, I like you and you like me, okay, we're holding hands kind of thing. But the other boy's family was just like, nah. And so the boy disappeared one summer, and he couldn't get answers from the boy's family about where he was or anything. Conversion camp. And when he came back in the fall, the boy was enrolled at the other high school in town, and the family wouldn't talk to him, and he couldn't see him, and it was just like this big old thing. And then that winter, the boy killed himself. And so it was just like absolutely heartbreaking for him to like see him being told that he couldn't be who he wanted to be, and like his family wouldn't support him, and then that. And I don't know, it hit me differently than any of the other stories did. I mean, like, it made me think of a lot of things. It made me think of Matthew Shepard, for one. Because, like, that was... literally, I'd had a month of high school when that happened. And, you know, they beat and tortured and murdered that young man with his entire life ahead of him just because he was gay, and it was just, like, fucking horrible. And, like, it's very, very impressionist on my mind because, you know, I was so young. He was only 21, you know? It's fucked up. But, it also made me think of all the horrible shit that people said when, the whole debate of gay marriage came up in Canada. Yes, we've had that for a very long time in America, so. But, you know, right-wing conservative crazy crackpot type would always say horrible things like, you know, well, there's no old gays because being gay is a mental illness, and, you know, they off themselves, or they say they're not gay anymore, they grew out of it, and like all these stupid horrible things. And like, that's not the reason there was a lack of gay people in their elderly years at that time. It's a fucking multitude of shit for why they weren't there. I mean, suicide's definitely one of it, but you know, y'all also murdered them and made their life miserable and refused to acknowledge that AIDS was a thing. And then I think of like the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir from the 80s and the photo they took like 20 years later or whatever of the like 100 of them that were in it. There's 4 left, you know? And it's just, that kind of thing bothers me a lot, and I think that story just hit me really hard because of the innocence of it all. I did not plan to cry this much when this happened. So yeah, it's an absolutely lovely book. I highly recommend it. On Goodreads, it has about, 2,700 ratings on it, and it's working out to a 4.08. It is truly a lovely book. And if you have a heart, it probably will make you ugly cry like this. But, yes, I still recommend it. I did not enjoy Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, and I was worried that because this is about a gay queer man that I may run into like a similar thing, because, you know, he uses Grindr a lot, meets up with people, and I was just kind of like, is this gonna be like that? Because I did not like that. But I'm like, it's so short, I'm gonna give it a shot. If I don't like it, I don't have to keep reading it. And then it was just like one of the most beautiful books I've read yet this year. So if you didn't like Johnny Appleseed, you'd probably like this. If you did like Johnny Appleseed, you probably would like this as well, not gonna lie. It's similar enough that I feel like the whole existential crisis of Indigenous and queer and having to live in a, you know, colonial settler society that's just like, I don't know about that, you know? So yes, I highly recommend. I actually rated this on Goodreads, which, you know, I don't do very often. I gave it 5 stars. So thanks for hanging out. Sorry I cried. I'll see you around next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, I guess.